to Indianomics. We've been discussing whether India's water crisis is a seasonal issue or whether it is irreversible. What we got from our guest was that this is a rather irreversible issue. Two good monsoons will not solve the problem. It will only get worse as power projects take off and as we start feeding the growing millions of India's population. We now have with us Dr. Ashok Gulati, who has been the chairman of the Agricultural Prices Commission and therefore understands cropping patterns better than anyone else. Mr. Gulati, thank you very much for joining us. Well, first up, how wrong are our cropping patterns? How much are they to blame for the water crisis, and what should we do?
You know, we have a situation where water-wise we are already a water-stressed country, and unfortunately our cropping patterns, because of certain policies, are tilted towards water-intensive crops, and we are net exporter of water. So rice, we are the largest exporter of rice in the world, and rice, 1 kilogram of rice needs 3,000 to 5,000 liters of water for irrigation, depending upon where you are growing it, half of which evaporates. So water table in Punjab, Haryana, Western UP, Rajasthan, 80% plus administrative units are overexploited. So we have to find out what is happening there on the rice policies. You are giving almost free water, free power, and then farmers are going and depleting water table by almost 1 feet a year. That is unsustainable, and we need to look at the procurement mechanism. We need to look at the 14.5% taxation and fees that Punjab imposes on that. Why don't you give similar subsidies on other crops which are less water consuming? Corn, for example. You don't procure corn, therefore farmer doesn't want to go for corn, he want to go for rice. And then you produce so much of rice, you have to export it. Same case in sugar. 1 kilogram of sugar needs 2,000 liters of water.
Well, Dr. Gulati, you've been in the Agricultural Prices Commission. Do you think the answer lies in different procurement policies, like discourage procurement of sugarcane and encourage procurement, for instance, of pulses?
You know, question is how many crops will we procure? I think what we need to do is also have policies which are aligned to market forces. You don't allow stocking of tour in the name that there are stockists and all these traders speculating. But if you can't store, when he produces, market crashes and prices are too low, and later on in the season the consumers have to pay through their nose. So you need to develop a warehouse receipt system.
Do you think the time has come, Dr. Gulati, that we should outlaw sugarcane or very severely restrict its growth?
You know, you need not give any extra incentives. What you are doing, you are giving free power or free water or highly subsidized water. You need to gradually phase out those subsidies and give that subsidy on per hectare basis to all the crops. So make crop neutral incentive structure. Today there is an import duty of 40% on sugar. Why are you protecting sugar? So, you know, you are having 5%, 10% duty on pulses, but on sugar you have 40%. Naturally everybody will go for sugar. So you create crop neutral incentive structures. That is my submission to the government.
Dr. Gulati, but rice is very much a part of Indian culture, large swathes in South India and in the East. So do you think we will really be able to be successful in discouraging the growth of rice?
You need not disassociate from rice. Rice will remain one of the prime commodities, number one crop of the country. But what you need to discourage is rice cultivation in Punjab and Haryana belt, because that's where water table is depleting. Anything in the east, why don't you build procurement system for paddy in eastern UP and Bihar and West Bengal and Assam? You know, there the prices, we have worked out last 5 years, farm harvest prices are 22% below the minimum support price. So give incentive there, you have all the system in place in Punjab where they are depleting water table. You need to shift 1 million hectare of rice cultivation from Punjab-Haryana belt to eastern belt, because that's where water is. If you have anywhere surplus groundwater, it is eastern belt. Therefore, rice needs to be shifted there.
Dr. Gulati, it was a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for joining us in this all-important discussion. So that's a set of remedies available for us, community development, but more importantly, changing of cropping patterns is also going to at least mitigate the crisis that we now face. Thank you for watching this edition of Indianomics.